Hi, this is Rob Yates, and this is the video for Unit 2, Homework 1. Please remember to put your full first and last name at the top of the page and what period you take algebra. Question 1. For the tile patterns shown to the right, A, draw the figure 0 and the figure 4. Well, it shows me figure 1, figure 2, and figure 3. In figure 1, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiles. In figure 2, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tiles. And in figure 3, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 tiles. Well, I increase 4 here, and I increase 4 here. So I think I'm getting a feel for the pattern. My figure 0 would be 5 minus 4 for my tiles. And my figure 4 would be 13 plus 4. I think you can handle that, so I'll let you figure it out. B says, write an equation for the number of tiles in this pattern, where x represents the figure number and y represents the tile pattern. So, writing a equation in the y equals mx plus b form, we've already noted that we increase 4 each time. So 4x is what I come up with for my slope figure. And we established that in figure 0, which will give me my b term, I'm going to have 5 minus 4 tiles, which I already know is 1. So there is my formula. So, to describe where the numbers come from in our equation, 1 is the number of tiles in figure, it's not a very nice E, 0. I'm going to go ahead and erase that for us since it's cramping our style at the moment. 4 is the increase of tiles from one figure to the next. Okay, for 2, it says evaluate each expression below if r equals -3, s equals 4, and t equals 7. Our first problem is going to be the square root of s plus the absolute value of r. So we can write that something like this. The square root of 4 plus the absolute value of -3. What is the square root of 4? Yeah, it is. What's the absolute value of -3? Remember, absolute value is the number of steps from 0, and -3 is 3 steps from 0, so we would write it this way. I think you can handle it from there. B is s minus r over t. So that would be written something like this. 4 minus -3 divided by 7. Before you solve that one, please remember what happens when you have two negative signs together like that. What happens? What is that going to equal? And then divide it by 7, whatever it is. All right. C. That was B. So getting a little larger, I'm going to go ahead and label these. C. It says 2 times S to the third power plus -3 minus 7. I'll let you handle that. 2 times 4 cubed. Remember your PEMDAS. Handle your cube being first. What is 4 to the third power? Then multiply it by 2. Then add -3. And then subtract 7. D. D says the cube root of 2 times t minus r. So you'd write that out initially as something like this. You'll notice I put the parentheses around my -3 because I want to make sure I remember that I am subtracting a negative. What happens when I subtract a negative? Also, remember PEMDAS, which means I have to do what's in here first, then I multiply by 2. And then and only then do I get the cube root of that number. All right, let's take a look at slide 2. Slide 2 says, for number 3, that we need to examine the relationship, the h of x, to find it right, and then estimate the values below. Well, for these functions previously, we've always had some sort of equation to look at, and this time we've got a graph. Well, graphs are nice because all we have to do is take a close look and then figure out what place on the graph they're talking about. Here it says, what is the h of 1? So, at 1, if I look here, there's 1. It looks like it comes across at right about 2. I was a little high there in my mark, but I'm going to say the h of x equals 2. Remember, we're kind of estimating. You're going on your best guess. Here's the h of 3. I'm going to mark it in blue so you can see the difference. Here is where it intersects the y. That's a little high there. What is that? I would say maybe -4. I'll let you go with what you think is best. And continue on with the rest of those. Number 4 says, which of these relations below are functions, and justify your answer. Remember that a function has to have one output for every input. So you can use the ruler test. For instance, if we take a look at C, I'll let you handle A and B. Let's pretend I have a ruler that runs up through this at 2. I hit this function at x equals 2 here and here, which means I have 2 outputs for 1 input. It's not a function. And because there are 2 outputs for 1 input. Make sure you get an exclamation mark in that, it always helps. Alright, if you have more questions, please remember that there is help available in the library before and after school. Also, your math teacher. Thank you again. See you soon.